Could you give us 2-3 practical tips that you use to keep your motivation level high?
I think Laxmi referred to Seligman's book earlier called Flow. You know, when I hit my lowest point, I sort of thought this is not healthy. I'm normally far more positive and optimistic. I then went out and I took a course at Penn U, which was called Positive Psychology. You know, run by the same guy, I believe, who wrote the book Flow. And it was great. And it's kind of, you know, a lot of it's kind of common sense with hindsight. But it really talks about, you know, the way you reflect on your life, the things that you're grateful for, the pleasure that you get out of strong connections with friends and family, giving positive feedback, helping other people. So, and sort of recognizing the small achievements, the small steps you make in life. So all those little things really contribute a lot. And the ones that contributed most to me were just taking a step back and saying, okay, rather than worrying about the totality of this, you know, this wage bill, which was nearly $2 million across the region every month, it was like, well, let's just look at what we're achieving, and let's look at what I'm achieving in personal life, you know, as well as business life, and let's sort of look at it in smaller moments, and let's also take the time to reflect, you know, almost on a daily basis as to what's going well, what's been appreciated, and you know, and taking time out to spend with other people and to help other people in situations, you know, and people think you're being somewhat magnanimous in doing that. It's not. It really makes you feel good. It's a very selfish behavior, actually. So just little things like that, you know, recognizing that, you know, the sun setting over the bridge on the way home at its simplest form, and taking a moment to recognize that, and taking a moment to recognize that, I don't know, you did your steps on your health app. You did write the 2 proposals you had to write this week. You know, just recognizing those little senses of achievement, rather than looking at the enormity of what was going on all the time, and you know, sometimes looking at the abyss and thinking, oh my God, how are we going to get through that? So that was very helpful for me. So I would certainly recommend anything on in that arena of topic in terms of dealing with changing the mindset to be far more positive again.
Helping others, definitely, because it gives me a different perspective. This is what we're currently doing a lot. And going back to my team, because they see things from a different perspective. I'm so overloaded that sometimes I just can't just tell where I'm heading, or I really am exhausted. And that's when the team really just puts me back on track, and they have amazing ideas. And this really is very important. Looking back at the achievements we've done, regardless of how small or big they are. But one thing I would also do, and I would really recommend, especially for those who work in the digital world, shut down. And literally shut down, as in like just turn off your phones, your laptops, just disappear. And especially if you really spend a long time working, I mean, mobiles, anything, laptops, writing, and I mean, it's not really, I mean, in Lebanon, it's a 9-to-5 job. So it's really not that, it's ongoing every time. So shutting down is sometimes very, very important.
Finding that single action that you're working towards, like, and not being overwhelmed with all the other details. And it's just having, that's my goal. That's what I'm working towards. And, you know, every business needs that, because if you don't have it, one, you don't have people, like, you have people working along their own visions, and the company just doesn't grow. And the other thing is, you know, I agree with Maria. I'm a big fan of just not doing anything, going out in nature and just, you know, just shutting down. And there's this wonderful podcast that I was listening to, and about this other book. I don't know, I love reading, but it's called Homework for Life. And the one thing that I recognize that we don't encourage people to do, especially because I work with innovation and technology innovation companies, and they think it's much more about the technology. You're not selling technology. You're actually selling something about you from your own personal life experiences. So what this book encourages us to do is to write down those moments of inspiration that we've had in our life. And then you can go back to it and look at it, because those are those moments that tell the story of your company, tell the story of your, of your own personal life. So, personally, I know from, working with the companies I've worked with, the CEOs tend to have these really critical moments of their life, and they just forget about them, because when you go to the marketplace, people just use grand marketing terms, which are great, but they're not don't ever lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing is essentially what I'm trying to say.
I like a dance and a drink. So, I mean, when you're working the forging businesses as everybody is and wants to do, perhaps, and I got to say, it's not for everybody either. I think it's either in you or it's not, to a degree. So I think that motivation for some people is inbuilt. I'm not certain it's something you can put there, and that's nothing to be ashamed of either. It's a tough path, but yeah, I like to have a dance, and that's been denied me in the past year, so I've had to rely on the drink a bit more, which is never a good thing, I might say. But yeah, I think you've got to find your own personal way of unplugging. Travel, I think, is always good, and sometimes traveling on your own as well as perhaps many business people do, but not in the business sense, but go somewhere, go for a drive, in just literally go out for a drive and clear your head. Sometimes you have so many things to deal with in a business, you can't see the wood for the trees, and you just need to get back to that clarity of purpose. And I find, emptying your head at that point, and that'd be different for everyone. Everybody will have their own way of doing that. But yeah, it is really important.